My heart is in the east, but I am at the edge of the west. Im eshkach Yerushalayim tishkach yamini. If I forget you, Jerusalem, let my right hand forget how to work. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem above my chiefest joy. Today's Shema for the victims of terrorist attacks in Israel by Sid Weissman. Too often when we wake, when we walk on our way, when we lie down, our eyes and hearts are forced open. Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. News reports terror in the streets. Bloodshed flows from people simply on their way. No longer, now buried wife, rabbi, son, friend. Adonai Eloheinu, my God, my God. We cry out, when does this stop? Each life is a world horrifically destroyed, our God. Adonai Echad, one God, one life. Hundreds of lies, too many. Broken breath opens our eyes and hearts. Across the oceans we pray as one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. To date, there have been over 4,400 rockets fired from Gaza into Israel, over 900 murdered, over 2,600 injured, and over 150 kidnapped by Hamas terrorists, and the numbers, they just keep growing. Counting, remembering the victims of hate, by Brasha Smith. We turn on the television when we see our phones light with the sound of news apps. We see images of smoke staining an otherwise beautiful, peaceful blue sky. We hear words like terrorism, hostility, violence, and bloodshed repeated on screen while we watch in horror as numbers grow. 1, 2, 10, 20, 40, 200, counting numbers that seem to go on forever. But how can we count lives as if they were nothing more than tallies on a blackboard? How do we keep on counting these humans as if they were nothing more than an illusion made by our conscience when tragedy strikes? We keep counting and counting and counting. Counting minutes in the shelters as bombs fly over our heads, hoping the next one will finally be the last in a slew of misery. We keep counting in agony, counting the number of family and loved ones who have yet to message us that they're okay. We count because numbers give order to pain. We count because it numbs the stinging. We count because tragedy takes everything, and we are left to pick up the pieces that it leaves in its disastrous wake. We continue to count because it's all we have, counting the rockets as they pass overhead, counting the tears that stain our cheeks, counting the loved ones who are now grieving. But as we count, we forget about humanity. These people lose their names, their identities. Victims of tragedy become little more than a number repeated on our TV screens. But we keep counting because that's all that's left for us to do. It's all that's left. 1, 2, 10, 20, 40, 200, 300, 500, 1,000. Reaching numbers we can no longer even comprehend without conception. 10 is easy to understand. Look at your hands and see 10 fingers wiggling back at you. But to picture 1,000, we must imagine crowded trains, or bus stations or stadiums just to know the scale of the devastation. When thousands are hurt or killed, we count. We count their lives. We count their injuries. We count their families, their homes. But we forget that that's a life now gone. We seem to forget that thousands of people have had their humanity stolen from them in a senseless act of violence and aggression. We count because it's easier to forget, easier to compartmentalize, easier to move on. When they are not faces, when they are only numbers floating across our TV screens, it's easier to make sense of the tragedy. But war has no true winners, only victims. And counting those victims doesn't mean anything. Counting those victims doesn't serve them, and it doesn't honor them or bring them back. We turn on the television when we see our phones light with the sound of news apps. We immediately begin to count as we watch, and as we count, we lose a bit of our humanity too. But somehow, it is all we have to get through. It is all we have to survive in the fear and tragedy. Jewish people are not supposed to count people. Even when counting a minyan, we repeat a verse comprising exactly 10 words from Psalms, but today there are not enough words in the psalm to cover the number of victims of this hate. So we count with numbers, even if we shouldn't. Because even if they have no name that we know, they deserve to be remembered. Counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Avinu shebashamayim, tzor Yisrael v'goalo, barech et medinat Yisrael, reshit tzmichat geulatenu. Our God in heaven, rock and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Hagen aleha be'evrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha ve'amitecha lerasheha, sareha ve'yoatzeha v'taknem be'etza tova milfanecha. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace, guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Chazek et yadeh mignei eretz kodshenu v'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua v'ateret nitachon ta'atrem v'natata shalom be'eretz v'simchat olam leyoshveha. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph, bless the land with peace, and its inhabitants with lasting joy. Esai el heharim me'ayin yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shemayim va'aretz. I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. From where does my help come? My help comes from Adonai, who made the heaven and earth. For the soldiers of the IDF by Alden Solovey. Rock of Israel, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, our family and friends have been called to serve in the name of peace and justice. In the name of sovereignty and survival, to defend and to protect our land from violence and assault, from kidnappers and terrorists, from missile and mortar, from those who would destroy our nation and our people. We stand with the defenders of Israel. We honor the guardians of Zion. We hold dear the sentries of Am Kadosh. God of old, we know the price of safety. We know the cost of security. Bless the injured and wounded in every generation with your healing hand. Bless the dead and the bereaved. with your love and consolation. Bless the heroes of our past and the heroes of the future, with a share in the world to come. Source of peace, keep our soldiers safe, and let our soldiers keep us safe, so that they return in life and in health to the loving arms of our people. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive. Bring them all home. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu, shomreinu l'chaim, v'shmor tzitenu vo'enu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Lay us down, Adonai, our God, in peace, and raise us up, our shepherd, to life renewed. Spread over us, watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Kol hod b'levav penim ha nefesh Yehudi homiha ulfatem Mizrach kadim ha ayin letzion Sophia, od lo tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot apayim, liotam chofshi me'artzeinu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, v'yotam chofshi me'artzeinu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim.